Hi, I'm Kaitlyn, coming to you from the virtual YMCA studio. This is an active yoga class. As always, listen to your body, take it at a pace that you need. I do have some blocks and blankets with me today. Feel free to improvise, use a spare yoga mat, towel, whatever you need. We're gonna actually get right into it and start in hands and knees. Feel free to cushion your knees with a little extra padding if you like. I'm going to take my hands slightly further forward than normal and just start to move around. Take some circles. And see how body wants to move. Maybe some child's pose. Wiggle the fingers, wiggle the shoulders. And then shoulders stacked over the wrists. We're going to, it's going to seem a little bit goofy perhaps, kick your right heel towards your right glute. So it almost feels like a hamstring curl. And then you're going to kick, let the whole right leg move so the right foot can move out to the right and bring it back in. You're going to do that a couple of times. And then try the same thing on the left. So squeeze your left heel to your left glute. Let the left shin kick out to the left. Doesn't have to be a huge motion. And bring it back to center. We're going to repeat on the right. So squeeze the right heel in. And this time you're going to peer out over the right shoulder. So you're looking back at that right heel and come back to center. And right foot comes down. Kick left heel to left glute. Left shin moves out. You look over the left shoulder. Bring it back to center. All right, adding on. Back to the right side. Squeeze that right heel in. Peer out over the right shoulder as the right shin kicks out. I have a tendency to hyperextend my elbows. Really try to keep the shoulders stacked over the wrists to firm the biceps and triceps. Now you're gonna let that right shin rest, keeping the right hand down. Swivel the left heel behind you, left leg extends straight. You're gonna stretch the left arm up over, you might wiggle like me, wobble. Left arm overhead. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. Let your head come back in line with your shoulders. And let everything come back down. Left side, squeeze your left heel to your left glute. Left shin moves out, look over your left shoulder. 2 more times. And then left shin comes down, extend the right leg back behind you, swivel the right heel down. Roll the waist open, stretch your right arm up overhead. Not so concerned with how much tension is or is not in that right arm right now. Just kind of seeing what's going on in your body. And then go ahead, bring it back down. All right, no surprises. Right heel kicks to the right glute. 3 times, look over your shoulder. Notice what's happening in the right hip to do that. Right shin comes down, right hand underneath the right shoulder. Stretch the left arm up. Now, we're going to glide forward towards the top edge of your yoga mat. So your shoulder stacks right over your right wrist and your left leg lifts up. If you don't glide forward, you're making your life harder than it needs to be. Bring it back down. Spread those hands wide like starfish. Left heel curls in towards the left glute. 4 times out to the left. Feel the whole left leg moving in its socket. And then left shin curls down to the yoga mat. Right leg extends back behind you. Roll the right arm over the right ear. Core is engaged. Shift your weight forward towards the top edge of your yoga mat. So your left shoulder is stacked right over your left wrist. Right leg lifts. Things do become easier when you're stacked. And then go ahead, lower back down. Maybe you're saying that was not easy. That's okay too. All right, right heel curls in. Look out over that right shoulder. Last time through this, we're gonna add on again. Right shin drips down to the yoga mat. Right hand under the right shoulder. Side plank, or modified side plank with the right shin down. Lean forward, glide forward, left leg lifts. Left heel curls in towards the left glute. You're gonna stretch back with your left hand to catch the left ankle. And then squeeze your shoulder blades together. Press the left foot back. So there's a little bit of a back bend happening, a little bit of a quad stretch. Keep pressing your shoulders forward so you're creating a shelf for your heart. Unravel everything, back down. All right. Left heel curls actively into the left glute. Just because you've been here before doesn't mean you can tune out. Rotate the left leg, peer out over that left shoulder. Let the left foot come down. Right leg extends back behind you, swivel the right heel down, stretch the right arm up overhead. Shift your weight forward into your left hand to lift the right leg up. Stay right here or kick the right heel to the right glute. Reach back with your right hand. Squeeze shoulder blades together on your back. Curl the heart forward. Keep the neck muscles soft. Kick the right foot back. You're breathing. And gently extend top arm and top leg straight. Bring it back down. You're welcome to take child's pose at any point that you need it in this class for a break. Tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. All 10 fingers spread wide like starfish. If you're unsure of your down dog setup, go ahead, glide forward, shoulders over your wrists like you're coming into plank. Feet are about hips distance apart, so that's 2 to 3 fist widths. And then lift the hips up and back. If your hamstrings are tight, bend the knees. Or if the low back feels like it's unhappy, bend the knees. Walk the hands backwards. Fold over your legs. Bend the knees as much as you need. You can bring your hands to blocks here. Hands come to your hips. Squeeze shoulder blades together on your back. Look forward. Press all the way up to standing. All right, we're gonna do a different variation of sun salutations today. Save some of the strength in our arms for the end of class. If you've got a blanket like I do, go ahead, get rid of it. You're going to step your left foot forward into a crescent lunge, so nice big stance. You're welcome to lower the back knee down for more support. Try to get the left thigh parallel with the ground. Lengthen the low back, so tailbone is just barely tucking under. Can stay right here or stretch the arms up if you need more of a challenge for your breath. Straighten the right leg any amount, but try to keep the front thigh parallel. And then swivel around to the other side. So back knee down if you need it. You're in a lunge on the right side. Stretch your arms up. Tailbone tucking under, navel moving back, behind you. So looking for neutral spine. A lot of talking to say that. You're breathing. Hands come to frame the front foot. Step back, plank pose. Lower the knees down. Check in with your breath and stretch the arms forward. Coming into a puppy dog pose. I'm coming onto my finger pads. Keep the abdominals engaged as you squeeze your shoulder blades together. Melt chin, chest, or forehead down to the yoga mat. Mine doesn't touch, no big deal. And check out how fluid or unfluid or choppy your breath is. That's good information. If it's too choppy, scale back a little bit. If you could sing a song right here, maybe you need to intensify a little bit more. Go ahead, glide yourself forward. Left forearm across the top of your yoga mat. Look back for your right heel. Kick it towards your right glute. Harder version, right hand reaches for the right ankle. Or if you have the shoulder mobility, right hand comes to the inside, big toe side of your right foot. Lift shoulder and elbow up. Spin your right hand around the top of your right toes. Quad stretch. Where your tailbone and sacrum meet, feel that press down into the yoga mat. And then no slingshot legs, gently release. Left side, kick left heel to left glute. Hard version here, harder, left hand to left ankle. Hardest, and really based on your shoulders. Left hand to the inside of the left foot, spin, left hand around the top of your foot. If this hand position is distracting from what's happening in your thighs, ditch it. I'm going to do some back bending, and we really need open quads to be able to access those muscles. Notice where your gaze goes, how your breath is. And then gently release. Go ahead, bring your fingertips wider than your yoga mat. You can let your head rest down to start. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. Gecko Cobra, lift the head up. Sacrum tailbone area presses down into the yoga mat. Navel lifts up and back towards your spine. Squeeze your shoulder blades in. And go ahead, lower down, downward facing dog. All 10 fingers pressing actively into the yoga mat. Go ahead, bring your feet into touch. Lift your right leg straight up behind you. So you're in a three-legged dog. And now feel like you could lift your wrists up off the yoga mat. So you're putting more weight into your fingers, armpits lifting. Let your left heel sink down as your right thigh lifts up. Squeeze where your right glute and your right hamstrings meet. Lower the right leg down. Big toes come to touch. Left leg lifts up behind you. Put more weight in your finger knuckles. Feel like your armpits have tennis balls underneath them, so they're stretching forward and up. Keep lifting the left thigh with where the hamstrings and the glute meet. It might not look like a lot's happening from the outside, but you should feel a lot of interactions. Left leg down. I don't know about you, that was hard work for me. Down dog standard. Walk your hands in to meet your feet. Press into all four corners of your feet, especially those big toe mounds. Hands can come to your waist, find a halfway lift. So you're getting long from tailbone to crown of the head. And then go ahead, stand up. All right. So this time you're gonna take a big step forward with your right foot, crescent lunge. Remember, back knee can always come down for more support. If you work out a lot, getting this back leg straight might be hard because your muscles are they're big and you've worked really hard to get them that way. So don't feel bad about bending that back knee. I'd rather have this front knee bent 90 degrees, right thigh parallel. We did arms up before, you can do that too. You can also take your hands by your ears, lift your sternum up, curl back, curl the chest back, chin back, maybe the arms stretch back. Keep bending into that right thigh. Cactus your arms, squeeze your elbows, squeeze your shoulder blades together, neutral spine, and swivel around. Depending on how sticky your sticky mat is, will determine the swivel. So sit low in your lunge, back heel lifted. Start in neutral. Navel moving back, chest is open. You're welcome to stay right here. Arms are optional. Otherwise, hands come by the ears. Stretch your armpits back. Curl your chest up and back. Let your shoulder blades support your heart. Chin moves back. Maybe the arms stretch back. Keep bending into that left leg. Squeeze the elbows out to the side. Come back to neutral. Stretch the arms up. Hands frame the front foot, downward facing dog. We're moving kind of fast today, so notice the impact that has on your body and your mind. If it feels so fast that your head starts to spin or you can't focus on your internal sensations, slow it down. You're your own expert. Knees come down to the yoga mat and stretch the arms forward, puppy pose. Sometimes we have a tendency to hyperextend in the low back here. Find neutral, keep the core lifting, stretch the arms forward. So it's almost like a bent knee down dog. You're always welcome to slide a blanket or a block underneath your forehead. Arms move forward, shoulder blades squeeze back. And then go ahead, roll yourself back to sit on your knees. I'm going to spin around to look at you. You can absolutely face whatever edge of your yoga mat works. Child's pose. Arms extend straight out in front of you. Let's do a narrow kneed version if that's accessible to you. Walk your arms over to the right. So you're in a little bit of a side bend. Tack the left hip back. If this is a lot, stay right here, a little bit harder. You're gonna take your left hand right above your right elbow. Extend your right arm forward, pull your left elbow out to the left. And then do the opposite, squeeze your right shoulder in towards your shoulder socket. Keep widening the left elbow to the left. Maybe you get a little longer in your spine, creep the right hand forward. Left arm extends straight to meet the right. And walk your hands back to center. Arms over to the left. So if you're on a clock, you only have to be like, if your knees are pointing at midnight, your arms only have to be at 10 o'clock or so. Try to get equally weighted in both legs and stay right here. Or if you like, you can bring your right hand to the top of your, like right above your left elbow. Spread the left hand wide like a starfish. Lift the right elbow up towards the ceiling. Stretch the left arm forward as you peel the right elbow up towards the ceiling. And then counter that by squeezing the left arm into your left shoulder socket. So a lot of opposing actions. Extend the right arm straight. Go ahead, come back to center. And go ahead, let yourself come up. Take your blanket. Come to about this rectangular shape. Roll it up nice and tight. You can do this with any old blanket, doesn't have to be this yoga blanket. Towel works great. If you want to get really intense, you can use like a broomstick. You're going to slide this underneath, like right behind your knee pits. Got a lump, don't want a lump. And you're going to smush your calf muscles, kind of like foam rolling, trying to break up some of that fascia, that connective tissue that's maybe a little bit tight. Your body's tendency might be to stretch forward because it's intense. See if you can get like your torso back over your heels. You're breathing. All right. This will be more intense for some of you, less intense for others. So you're going to take the blanket, pull it taut left and right, and slide it back an inch or two. It's going to be right in the belly of that calf. Interlace your arms, extend them straight. Your thumbs are going to want to pop forward. Keep pulling them back. Stretch your arms up overhead. Pull the thumbs down, pull the pinkies down. Lower the arms down. Take note of what hand is on top. And then you're going to take the blanket, pull it taut one more time. It's going to come right about slightly above your ankles and your Achilles tendons. Opposite hand in front. And stretch the arms up. So in a perfect world, your palms could be flat on the ceiling. I realize with typing and texting, that's not always accessible. Really good way to get grounded in the legs. We started with a lot of movement. What's it feel like to come back to seated? Arms can come down. Go ahead, get rid of your blanket and make your way back to your downward facing dog. Got yoga props everywhere. All right. Knowing you can always sub down dog for child's pose or hands and knees. Those calves might feel like they can reach a little bit longer towards the yoga mat now. Go ahead, extend that left leg up behind you, lifting with where your hamstring and your glute meets. Go ahead, bring your left foot forward. Swivel your right heel down. You're gonna lift up to warrior two. So, for this version of warrior two, if you wanna skip the arms altogether, you can. We're trying to create a little more openness in the inner thighs. So feel like someone is pulling, like with a yoga strap, your left calf forward towards the top edge of your yoga mat, getting nice and low in that left thigh, and at the same time, push the right inner thigh up and back. Straighten out the left leg, triangle pose. So same kind of actions. Right hip is lifting up and back. Inner left thigh is soft, outer left thigh is toning. And that's not always how we teach the pose, it's just how we're doing it today. Hinge forward at the hip, so almost like that halfway lift. And then right arm can come up, left arm can come down. Just like you did on your arm before, can you glide your chest forward a little bit more? Feel your right inner ankle lift. Right arm comes down. Gently swivel left foot in to meet in parallel with the right. Kind of come to wide-legged forward fold. I actually like to back my heels up to the long edge of my yoga mat. Gotta find it. To really make sure those legs are symmetrical, and then fold over. Fingertips can come to blocks. They can come in line with the toe tips. Bend the knees. Press all four corners of your feet down into the yoga mat. My head's dropping a little bit as I do that. Feel the inner thighs widen left to right. Press into your feet to straighten the legs. Inner ankles lifting. Maybe the hands can walk back a little bit further. If you can get your head to a blanket or the yoga mat, great. You're breathing. And then go ahead, lift yourself up to a halfway lift shape, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders. Hands come to your hips or your waist. Bend the knees. Press up to standing. All right, warrior two, other side. So right hip, knee, and toes all in line with one another. Bend the right knee. Pretend like someone's pulling your right calf. You can kind of tell the right inner thigh to release, but also engage the outer right thigh. Feel the left inner ankle lift up. You can do the arms if you like. Upper inner left thigh pressing up and back to the left. Just so that right leg doesn't have to do all of the work. Straighten out the right leg. Keep the muscles of the legs engaged as you tip at the hip, hip hinge all the way down. Keep lifting that left inner ankle up. Get long in the chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. Go ahead and gently bring your hands to the inside of that right foot. You're going to extend your right leg back to meet your left. Downward facing dog, back of your yoga mat. Left leg lifts up behind you. Bring it forward by your left hand. Lower the right knee down. Chest up, arms up, Anjaneyasana. You're welcome to cushion this back knee for more support. Try to square the hips. Cactus your arms, squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. Nice long low back here, so not a lot of curve happening. We're gonna try to curve in our thoracic spine, so the upper back. Draw your arms back, squeeze your shoulder blades together, curl the chest up, chin moves back. You can stay right here or stretch the arms straight. A lot of inner work. Recurl the arms. Lift yourself back up to neutral. Hands come to the inside of that left leg. Walk the left leg out to the left a little bit for lizard pose. Keep pressing into that left foot. Go ahead and walk your left foot back in. This time I am going to grab my blanket. I highly recommend you do too, or you can just roll your yoga mat in once or twice. Coming into a quad stretch, so I'm placing the blanket underneath my right knee. We have this 90 and 90 angle that we've been working in the legs. You're gonna maintain that. Do your arms up. If you've got a lot of sensation on the front of the right thigh, no need to do anything else. And if you've got a little bit more, you're gonna kick your right heel to your right glute, squeeze it in with one or both hands, weeble wobble if you need to. It's like you're creating more space on the front of your right thigh. Quad stretches are my favorite. They can be so edgy, but they're so beneficial, especially if you're doing lots of other workouts. All right, go ahead, let that right leg come down. And let the left knee just slide back to meet the right. Pause. Gives the low back a moment to kind of settle, get in line with one another and the SI joints. And then step your right foot forward. Squeeze your heels in towards one another. Keep pressing into the big toe side of your right foot. Cactus your arms. Keep the core engaged. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back. Curl the chest up and back. Chin moves back. Keep squeezing the legs in. Maybe you want to extend the arms back. Shoulder blades pressing forward like a shelf for your heart. Rebend the elbows. Come back to neutral. Hands come to the inside of your right leg. Now, if you're like, Kaitlyn, these back bends are killing me, my low back is on fire, ease off, work in neutral. You can use more core strength. Most of us are very mobile in our low backs and not very mobile at all in our upper back, so it takes quite a bit to access those muscles. Be gentle on your spine. Feel that right hip stretch. And then go ahead, lift yourself up. Padding under the left knee. If it's not there already, curl your left heel to your left glute. One or both hands. And also, if the balance is challenging, you can absolutely do this with your hands on the ground or a yoga block. Still getting all of that good left thigh opening. All right, gently release that left side down. Lift the left heel up, swivel all 10 toes, come back into wide-legged forward fold. Get your hips, so I'm bending my knees so I can get my hips in line with my ankles, and then I'm gonna walk my arms forward like I'm doing downward facing dog. More weight in your fingers, armpits lift like there's tennis balls underneath them, squeezing your shoulder blades together on your back. Walk your feet in no fancy way. Come down to your knees. So we're gonna do camel pose, and I like to use a block between the thighs. If you have a strap, you can also wrap the strap really tightly around the outer thighs. This usually helps me, it prevents me from like putting all of that weight and all of that action into my low back, my lumbar spine. So with a block, feel free to cushion your knees. Actually, I'm gonna give myself a cushion. I'm gonna lead by example and keep those knees nice and safe. We're gonna do yoga well into our 90s and 100s. Squeeze that yoga block between your thighs. You can have your toes tucked or untucked, it doesn't matter. Squeeze your shoulder blades together on your back, open up across the heart. Like your sternum is on a string, or your heart's on a string, lift up, squeeze your shoulder blades back, curl back. Maybe you find a foot or two. If you don't, no big deal. Hands at the hips, squeeze the block, chest curls back, chin moves in and then back. And then come up to neutral, sit down. You can remove the block. Take a moment and pause. And then go ahead, get rid of the block. You're gonna come to lay on your belly. So we're gonna come into some smaller spinal extensions. Go ahead, lay down. You're going to extend your right leg straight back behind you, neutral in the leg, so right hip, right knee, right toes, all facing in the same direction, and lower it down. And then same thing with the left. So lift the left leg up, stretch it back, left hip, knee, and pinky toe in the, one toe in from the pinky toe, lower down. Sacrum and tailbone area presses straight down into the yoga mat. So it's almost like my belly button's moving away from the yoga mat. And then extend the arms straight back, palms facing one another. Squeeze your armpits away from the yoga mat, shoulder blades squeeze in. If you want to lift your legs for locust pose, go for it. They can also stay down. Find length in your back muscles. Don't worry so much about height. You should feel strong here, not beaten down. And rest. Flip over onto your back. Grab one of your yoga blocks. And just like we did in Camel, we're doing bridge, which is, if you think about it, basically the same shape. I'll give one more modification. If your low back doesn't want to do anything, come into this restorative bridge. Otherwise, if you're up for it, you're going to make sure you're really pressing down through the big toe mound. So not the pinky sides of your feet, the inner borders of your feet. If you extend your arms straight, your fingers can touch your ankles, so your heels are in that close. Roll your shoulders underneath you, so you've got a lot of space in your collarbones. Right collarbone moving to the right, left collarbone moving to the left. Pressing into the big toes, squeeze the inner thighs, squeeze the block with all you got, lift the hips up. Squeeze the block. If you don't have a block, totally fine, but keep squeezing the inner thighs in towards one another. Inner thighs in and up. Lift with where the hamstrings and the glutes meet to get a little bit more height. And you're breathing. And lower down. Check in with how that was for you. Let's do one more. Squeeze the block. Lift the hips up. Lift with where the glute and the hamstrings meet. Lift that higher to the sky. Squeeze the block. Lift the underside of your glutes. Squeeze the block, so inner thighs and outer thighs working. Chest moving back like it could lift higher than your hips. And lower down. I'm sure you're doing great. Let those knees knock in. Resist the urge to squeeze your knees into your chest and curl up like a ball. Bring your feet about parallel with one another. We're going to give ourselves a little traction. Bring the heels of your hands in towards your thighs. Press the thigh muscles forward, straight elbows. Release that. Walk your feet about as wide as your yoga mat. Come to your cactus arms. Should feel familiar. And then let your knees drop over to the left. So quad stretch here. You can stay right here. You can also hook the left heel on top of the right thigh. If that bothers anything in your body, feels crunched, don't worry about it. Feel your groins root it down towards the yoga mat. If you're looking for a little bit more, stretch the right arm up. Up as in straight back behind you. You're breathing. Let the left leg slide out. Come back to center. Reorient your arms. Pause, notice left and right. They might not feel very symmetrical, that's okay. Feet as wide as your yoga mat, and let the legs drop over to the right. Thinking about lengthening that left thigh forward towards the short edge of your yoga mat. If you like, you can let the right foot rest on the left thigh. Maybe make that left arm straight and long. Side feels a lot better for me. And that's not like a statement to judge or get attached to. It's just a noticing. And then gently release this side. Let your knees knock in towards one another for a moment. And then set yourself up for your final relaxation. Legs extend out long, arms extend out long to your sides. Take a big breath in and a long breath out and rest. Let your breath get soft. stay here for as long as you can. Take this time to nourish your body. You've earned it. It was an honor that you came to class with me this morning. We'll see you next time. Have a great day.